Oh, yeah, here we are. You thought it was going to be a costume today. The costume is we got set design, and you know where we are? I want you to guess where we are right now. Ready? I'm going to take some guesses because we're here for story time for I Am Jim Henson, and we are in the frozen tundra. I'm in Alaska right now. This is real. This penguin is real. This is everything you see is real. Actually, you know where we are? We're in L.A. We're in Los Angeles. This is the city of make-believe, also known as the city of lies. But let me tell you, this is why we're late. This is the best. I'm going to say without exaggeration, this is the greatest excuse of all time. We're in Facebook headquarters. We're in like the mothership of Facebook. And usually, Storytime has the preparation of our entire set and crew, which is me and my kids who I had to put to work. And we here have an entire staff of Facebook employees who are the nicest people ever. And literally, Facebook operates with the efficiency of me and my kids. It's proven because they literally all the computers like broke and everything went down. And I was so happy because they were sweating and they were all nervous. And I was like, this is fantastic because it proves that the technology of all of Facebook equals the technology of my crappy old laptop. So there's my crappy old laptop equals Facebook. I'm so psyched for that, and I'm just saying that to bust their chops. So here we are. Welcome to Storytime. It is the official Storytime for I Am Jim Henson. They got this whole awesome set for us in the Winter Wonderland, and I will tell you that, are we going to be able to, can I talk to people? Watch this. I have an assistant today. Look, it's not Alaska. And now we're going to see, okay, so Angie's here, I see, and Crystal's here. Her 8-year-old daughter's here, and I can see everybody's here now. There's also a huge shout-out to a boy named Brandon who is watching. And Brandon is fighting a really serious disease. And Brandon, for this Christmas, Lego sent me, for my son a year ago, they sent me this entire awesome Star Wars Lego set, an entire battleship. And I didn't have the heart to tell Lego that when they sent it to me that we already had it, because we have a lot of Lego and my kid loves Lego. So a great friend and reader out there named Dave introduced to Brandon, who is suffering and fighting hard, and we sent him the Lego set for this Christmas, and I know he's watching now. So Brandon, this one is dedicated for you. This is Storytime, and I'm going to tell you two things. I brought one thing that we're showing no one, so don't tell anyone you saw it, but tonight, yesterday, 2 days ago, we had Jim Henson's daughter. I'm going to show you this. We're going to do a cutaway. Watch this. This is going to be special effects here on Storytime. First time ever. Cutaway. Here's me and Jim Henson's daughter and Chris Eliopoulos, the awesome artist who draws the book. And then tonight, we're going to actually have Jim Henson's other daughter is coming to L.A. Don't tell her this. I hope she's not watching. Chris Eliopoulos is so sweet and so awesome that he drew. We're going to pull in tight on this picture to present to Jim Henson's daughter. It's Jim Henson and her when she was little. And Chris drew this original piece of art so that we're going to present this to her tonight. So don't tell her you saw it. And Dave is saying that he loves it. And Ray is saying very nice. And Angie's saying I need hot chocolate and a blanket. And you do. It's freezing here. I'm just a good actor. And I'm built in vulnerability. The other thing I'm going to show you is I forgot the cake. Right? We got to do the cake. So here's the thing. So I checked in my hotel. I'm staying at the Montage Beverly Hills. Don't call them prank me or do anything bad because they'll totally sue you. But I love the Montage because my friends run the Montage. And what happens when your friends run the Montage? Let me show you what you get when you check into your room. You get this. Watch this cutaway. Boom. That's me with a Jim Henson, I Am Jim Henson cake, which I love. And I wish that every place that I checked into had cakes with likenesses of things that I work on it. But we love and thanks everyone at Montage for doing that. Look, there I am. Look. If I hold this, by the way, if I hold this phone up to live Facebook and I go live to live, I will truly be affecting the space-time continuum. I will be living in a TARDIS. I will have a DeLorean. It will be official. So I can't cross the streams and turn this. If I turn this phone around, all Facebook will go down and you guys will be totally screwed. That's actually why we were late, because the space-time continuum, I held the phone around. Okay, so here we go. I am Jim Henson. You guys ready? I will tell you this book, when I was 5 years old, Jim Henson on Sesame Street taught me that you can use your creativity to put good into the world. And here I am all these years later, and this is our goal, is to use this book and use our series of kids' books to put a little bit more good into the world. So let's start with the master himself. This is I Am Jim Henson. I am Jim Henson. Watch, we cut right to the first one. Look at that. Tech, right there. It's coming. Kirk says I'm funny. I agree, Kirk. I'm funny. Here we go. Oh, good. You're here. What's the fun of a story if you don't have anyone to share it with? Growing up in Mississippi, I used to love to watch birds. I even made my own book where I'd list each bird I saw and add my own drawings. My whole life, I loved kooky words. He loved this word, the grackle. Don't you love funny words like that? The grackle. You know what else he loved? He says, you know what else I loved? Laughing. As a kid, this was one of my favorite family jokes. He says, my mom used to play it on my brother and me. And mom pours cereal into the bowl, and she says, say when? And he says, gee, that's enough. And she keeps pouring. The milk's going over, it's flowing over the thing. He says, Mom, that's enough, Mom. And she says, you didn't say when. You know what that is? That's a funny mother. It almost sounds like a bad word if you reverse it. Don't tell your kids. At 8 years old, I'd come here to the movie theater. Every Saturday, this was my favorite place. For 15 cents, I could get a bag of popcorn and spend the whole day watching cartoons, newsreels, action movies, and comedies. My favorites were the ones with wild clothing and far-off locations, like the Old West or foreign countries. The rest of the week, my friends and I would recreate what we saw in the movies using homemade props and costumes. So I'm going to tell you this in the book. So this movie right here, there was a bad guy, and he had a tattoo of a star. So Jim Henson used to take a piece of cork, and he'd put it into coal and make it all black, and then he'd stamp himself, and then he had it. So like you and I, we would play Superman because we put like a towel around our neck, and we'd play Superman, Batman. Jim Henson was like his own set designer, prop designer. He would take the hose, when he'd see a snake charmer, and he'd take a hose from the hose outside and turn it into a snake. This is a kid who was creative, right? With a little imagination, we'd start pretending. There was no limit to what we could create. Now here's what I love, because I'm influenced by my own grandfather who used to tell me stories when I was little. He says, my grandparents played a big role in my life. I got my middle name Maury from my grandfather, who loved to laugh too, but he never laughed at anyone, never made fun of people. As for my grandmother, she was my best audience. When she came over to visit, we used paint, glue, and crayons to make the most amazing art projects. She was the one who encouraged me to draw things that made me so happy, monsters with giant mouths and birds with big eyes. And she'd say, tell me a story about each of these creatures that he would make. Kirk's asking why I have 2 rings. There's a reason. I'm not telling you. It's a secret. Those days with my grandmother changed my life. She encouraged me to tell stories. She supported my love of reading. She was amazing with a needle and thread. She could sew anything. So pay attention here. He says, what is that? She said, it's a coat made out of an army blanket. Like it? He's like, gee, I really do. But the most important thing she taught me was that with my imagination, I could do anything. I could be anything, including a performer. One night during a skit in Cub Scouts, I had one of my friends stand in front of everyone with his hands behind his back. Then I put my own hands in, and he put his hands like through here. He'd be like, what's so funny? I'm being serious here. And he'd make a joke, and all the little Cub Scouts would laugh, and he says, I can still hear the crowd laughing. I always loved a good performance. Growing up, I listened to shows on the radio like Green Hornet, The Shadow, and one of my favorite comedians, a ventriloquist named Edgar Bergen. Even though Edgar Bergen did the voices, I never thought Charlie McCarthy or his other characters were puppets. They were human to me, and this is Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. He was like a little puppet. His work was magic. Magic in the real sense. It seemed impossible. That's what magic is. It creates wonder. It creates dreams that inspire. I'd seen their picture in newspapers, but here, with each show, an ordinary object came to life. Something happened when Edgar spoke through Charlie. The puppeteer wasn't just sharing jokes. He was sharing the best parts of himself, and people were listening. When I was 13, a new technology changed my life. At a friend's house, I saw an invention called, you know what it is, people, television. Now it's like a kid saying Facebook, right? Television, you have a television. We just got it. Isn't it cool? And he says to his dad, can we get a television? No. Can we get a television? No. Can we get a television? No. Stop asking. Okay. Can we get a television? No. I wouldn't give up. Soon, my parents gave in. And on TV, he found comedians like Sid Caesar, Milton Berle, and Jack Benny. One of my favorites was Ernie Kovacs, who used to tilt the set, and the camera slid everything sideways. I was going to do that. I just want to blame Facebook. I was going to tilt the whole set. All the snow, we had like a budget that was going to be so big, and all the snow was going to come down on me, but it won't happen because of Facebook, so I'm sorry. All the children out there who are crying right now, it's not my fault. It was going to happen for you, but it's not now. I especially love variety shows. That was acting, by the way. I'm in LA, so I'm an actor now. Which had big casts that would sing, dance, and do comedy. And there was Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, a show where puppets made jokes and sang with a human co-star. You close up right here on Jim Henson's eyes. He knew, you see that? The way they talked to each other, it was like those puppets were alive. Right away, I knew one thing. I wanted to work in television. Now, this is the part I'm going to tell you instead of reading to you. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole book. Jim Henson, when he's younger, He's 16 years old. He goes to the TV station. And he says he wants a job. And they all say no. They all reject him. And he like the time he begged his dad, he never, ever gave up. So after a local station announced it was looking for a puppeteer, I'd never used a puppet before, but my whole life I loved creating. This was the job I wanted. So how did I get it? The same way you get any dream, hard work. If you listen to one thing I say today, remember that out there. I went to my high school library, took out books on puppetry, built a few puppets, and went back to the station. Now, I'm a puppeteer. Will you hire me? They gave him a chance. That was all he needed. Was my first show a success? What do you think? No, it was canceled. Jim Henson's first show was canceled. But did I give up? Not a chance. My partner and I continued creating, continued working hard, and eventually they got our own 5 minutes before The Tonight Show. Along the way, we came up with a name for our characters. We called them Muppets, playing around with the word puppet. But really, it was just a fun word, like the word grackle. Now, the show was called Sam and Friends. Now, you got to pay attention here. This is someone you're going to recognize. Watch this. We're going to go to the big screen. We needed a new puppet, and the answer was right in plain sight. I was 18 years old and found my mother's old wool coat. I cut it apart and sewed a new body. My grandmother taught me that one. I gave it a pointed face. I glued on the halves of a ping pong ball for eyes. And then I became the one who performed his voice. Yes, he was turquoise back then. He wasn't even a frog, but he did have a name. You know what it is, baby. Kermit. There he is. With each show, I kept inventing new characters, dreaming up new ways to make people laugh. On TV, unlike a puppet stage, there were no walls, so we could film our puppets from far away or bring them really close for an easy laugh. Look at that. We just used technology. And while old-fashioned puppets had frozen expressions, our Muppets' faces could move. We could do faces that were funny, angry, or even sad. And this is what, when I went down to Sesame Street, this is what they taught me. And this is true. When you look at a normal Muppet, and when you look at a normal puppet, they have eyes, and they have a nose, and they have a mouth. But what Jim Henson realized, if you cross their eyes just a little bit, if you just cross them a little bit, not cockeyed, but just a little bit, they have what he called focus. And now the Muppet looked just at you, and they started to come alive. But you know what my real secret was? Practice. We would practice in a mirror over and over until it was just right. The only way people would feel a sense of wonder was if we could give each character a life of his own. And he has Jerry Jewell, and Don Sallin, and Frank Oz, who does the voice of Grover, and even, sounds like Grover, also sounds like Yoda. Grover and Yoda are the same people, and Miss Piggy. Think about that. Are your mind's blown right now? Grover, Yoda, and Miss Piggy are the same guy, and he's got a mustache, right? That's mind-blowing to me, just the mustache part. We did commercials and performed on other shows, but like so much of life, it was all just training for our next adventure. Now here, this is the best part. 2 TV producers named Joan Gans Cooney and John Stone were about to give me the opportunity of a lifetime. They said, I want to create a show that's going to change the lives of children, especially those whose families don't have a lot of opportunities. We want a show that can help them to learn, to read, and count. And he says, it can be funny, right? And they had a name for it. Watch this cutaway, baby. It is called Sesame Street. There we are. Who doesn't love Sesame Street? Chris Eliopoulos loved drawing this page. Since kids loved the Muppets, they built Muppets who could interact with the kids. They got Big Bird, they got a Grouch. And on November 10th, 1969, the first episode aired. It was a smash hit. That's right, Miss Piggy with a mustache. That's true, Katie. That's funny. I'm still reading your comments, by the way. You didn't miss Storytime, Bill. It's going on right now. Look, more love and hearts for Sesame Street than anything. Every episode, Sesame Street taught the ABC. C is for cookie. It's good enough for me. You know that. 1, 2, 3s, the counting 4 beautiful bats. By the way, these are all my favorite things from Sesame Street. Rubber Ducky, Yip Yip Martians, Super Grover. You think we just pick things randomly? We don't pick things randomly. Elmo, truthfully, I can live without, but you got to put Elmo in or else, the kids are going to revolt. Certainly, with all its zany creatures, it made us laugh, and here. But at its best, with songwriters like Joe Raposo, Sesame Street made us think, especially about what kind of people we wanted to be. And I feel like I got to read this because it's so beautiful. Green's the color of spring, and green can be cool and friendly like, and green can be big like an ocean, or important like a mountain, or tall like a tree. Through song, the whole world heard that green, and all of us can be anything. Isn't it beautiful to see the world like that? In fact, Kermit's humor never came from making fun of people. It came from bringing us together. That's my favorite part of Jim Henson. By focusing on the good in everyone, my own sense of wonder took over, and my dream of entertaining others came true. Dun, 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 dun. Here it is, the Muppet Show, baby. The Muppets and I went on new adventures and bring along some of our favorite friends. It's the Muppet Show with our very special guest star, Mr. Edgar Bergen, Muppet Flail, right? Kermit Flail. Oh, I love this part. And this is, again, Statler and Waldorf. Every week on the Muppet Show, frogs, pigs, bears, and creatures of all kinds reminded the world that despite all the chaos, as I was saying on the Muppet Show and on Sesame Street, I wanted our audience to know that despite all the chaos and despite all of our differences, there's nothing more fun than being together. And right now, where America is right now, that is what we need, to be more together. From there, I never stopped creating and dreaming. In fact, the more we performed, this is my favorite page that's coming up in the whole book, bar nothing. The more fun we had, and the more my dream grew, bringing millions of people together. What can possibly be more magical than that? Life's like a movie. Write your own ending. Keep believing. Keep pretending. We've just done what we've set out to do. Thanks to the lovers, the dreamers, and if I could sing, I would sing this because I want to sing it, and you. And here it is. In my life, I love to create. It's like my soul is in these pages. But the secret behind my best creations wasn't a strong hand or a catchy song or even a funny voice. It was the simple idea. There's good in all of us. Sure, we're all different. Some of us have beards or no hair or blue fur or green flippers. But goodness lives within each of us. That's an idea that should never get old. Believe in the good of the world. Create something new. Share what you love and find others who believe in those favorite things you dream about. Together, we can make magic. And I'll tell you, for those who don't know, on every page, we hide Chris's 2 sons, my 3 kids. We hide Superman. We hide secret numbers. I'm not telling you which numbers. Go look for them. But I will tell you, if you can pull in close right here, this is Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. And that is me. I'm hidden in every book. You can go find me. And that's my sister, because every year we will watch that together. So that's my sis. And now before we cut to this, I got to tell you, so at the end, when we always do the big crowd shot, I always tell Chris, we're going to do something really big for this one. And I said, I want everyone. I want Kermit. I want Miss Piggy. I want Fuzzy Bear. I want the Yip Yip Martians. I'm like, I want Ernie and Bert. I want Snuffleupagus. I want Fraggle Rock. I want Doozers. I want everybody. I want David Bowie, and I want to have everything in there. And I promise you, this is the nerdiest page we've ever done. And I think we had to pay more to clear the rights for this page than we'll make on the whole book. Worth it. It's worth it for every second. Check this piece of art out. Let's see it. We cut away too. It starts when we're kids. That's when we learn some of the best things in life. Laughing, sharing, imagining, dreaming, creating. Never stop doing them. And never stop being kind. There's nothing wrong with being a do-gooder. I am Jim Henson, and I will keep believing and keep pretending. And there he is. That's I am Jim Henson. Oh, you got lots of hearts for that. Trust me, I love that one. So what we're going to do, how much time, what are we on time? Because I can't see on this phone. If I turn around, we'll all die. Oh, I see it here. Okay, I got it. Okay, 18 minutes. We got it. Okay, so we're going to do a couple quick questions. Here we go. You ready? I'm going to take them right from here. Let's see. You guys can ask questions also, and I got a couple here. So here's the first question. Do you have a favorite Muppet or Sesame Street character? Who is it and why? Listen, this is a loaded question. I just did my favorite top 10 Muppets for Pop Sugar, and they were so great, for Pop Sugar moms. And we all know, listen, we all have our favorite. I love Animal. I love Grover. I love even Bert. Kermit is a gimme. We all know Kermit's a gimme. But here's why I love Ernie more than anybody, is that Ernie, his laugh was how my mom used to laugh. I don't know why my mom used to laugh like that. My dad used to make fun of her. And when my mom passed away, every time I hear Ernie, my mom's back again. So Ernie is always the winner for me. And we're going to get more questions coming. Alicia says, my copy is being sent. Keep these books coming. My students love them. I think you should sue your mailman. When is Hazel coming back? Yes, Angie asked. She wants to know about the thrillers. All right, there's nothing like Storytime than to talk about some murder. So yes, coming. We're working on it. Todd and I are working on it. Are you ever coming back to Delaware? Who knows that I was in Delaware? How does Laura know I was there? I was in Delaware. How'd you know that? And I am coming back. Did you ever meet Jim Henson, Chuck asks. So here's the question. I didn't. He passed away in 1990. but have been lucky enough to, of course, meet his daughter Cheryl for many years ago, and is just one of the nicest people around. And I can tell you this, that the nicest part of working with the Hensons on this book is that the kindness that they've shown us and brought us into life. I will tell you that on Tuesday, someone asked her, did your dad ever get mad? And it was the first time I was like, ooh, I want the answer to that question. And he said that Jim Henson only got mad, she said, when his kids were being mean to each other. I was like, that is the best answer, because right, that's the whole point. Is that, and she's told me this, and look it up, Entertainment Weekly let me interview her live, and we did this interview back and forth. It just went live, and I said, everyone knows that Kermit is her dad, but I said, are any of the Muppets you? And she said, when we were kids and we were toddlers, that's when Sesame Street came out. But when we were teenagers and the house was totally chaos, and we had all these animals and all these pets and teenage kids, that's when the Muppet Show came on. So I was like, oh, so it was just like your life. He was writing for his kids each time. And I was like, so he's totally like Kermit. She's like, yeah, dummy, of course. He's totally like Kermit. You are the best, Brad. I agree. Hiya, Brad. Hi back. Chuck says, awesome. Which of the characters has a voice of the actual puppeteer? That's a good question. They're all different. Frank Oz has like a. I hear everybody when I hear Frank Oz speak, and obviously Kermit is so close to me to Jim Henson. Like Ernie's different, and when he does Rolf is different, but I think that Kermit is. Okay, starting a brand new K-5 elementary library, and these books are first on my list. That's not even a question, but I love it. As a truck driver, I have stories for you. That's a threat. No, Kirk, I love you, Kirk. I don't think they're going to be appropriate for kids, though. But can I tell you, this is going to be a great story. I'm going to tell you this. I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. So my friend Randy Boxer, she came to the book signing in New York, and she was my friend when I used to watch Muppets. And one of our other friends works at a, how do I say this in front of kids? John Tremonte has worked for 20 years at a gentleman's club, let's just say. So she brings her book up to me and says, Brad, here's the book, and John said to tell you, at the I Am Jim Henson signing with Jim Henson's daughter there to show what class I'm from, says, please sign my book, and John wants you to know that if you ever want to stop by, he promises you a really good lap dance. I just want you to know that's what happened at the first I Am Jim Henson signing, right? That is the kind of, can you believe that? And I was like I'm going to take him up on that. But I thought that was the most fantastic thing anyone's ever offered at a book signing. Totally absurd, but shows you that you can take the kid out of Brooklyn, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, we want more Decoded. Tell the History Channel, don't blame me. Lots of love from the Murphys in the UK. Oh my gosh, Stuart Murphy's here from London. I love that guy. He's great. I met him. Stuart Murphy, this is true. This is how I met him for my first book. We still stay in touch because I love all of them. And Friends Who Needs Enemies, that is true. Is Fraggle Rock mentioned in the book as well, Scott Cash asks. What kind of Jim Henson biography do you think we're doing, my friend? Of course he's right in there. We couldn't mention every single one by name, but we put the Fraggles in there in the end. The other thing that I put in there, because I'm just so obsessed with Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, is we have a timeline in the very end, and Fraggle Rock is on there. You can see Fraggle Rock appears 1983, but I put the Muppet Show on there, put the Muppet movies on there, and then I put Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas just for my sister. Okay, a couple more questions, and then we're going to go. Let's see where we are. I'm going to wrap this up. A shout out from the Granite State. Can I come by your house and have you sign my comics? Oh, yeah, that makes total sense to me. From the caves in Kansas to secret military bases. I'll see you. Oh, Kirk, that's the story you want to tell me? Write to me offline. Watch. This is how I do research, people. I go and do Facebook Lives, and then people like Kirk tell me stuff. Yes. Contact me, Kirk. I'm ready. Kansas City plans, not going back. Emmett Otter, I agree. Caitlin is the best. I'm reading The House of Secrets. My daughter is reading Heroes for my daughter. We're watching this together. Thank you, Brad. That one gets me. Thank you, Christian Witten. That is cool. You rule. With that, I'm going to break the space-time continuum. We're in the DeLorean. We are in, you are watching me watch myself. We're in the DeLorean. We're in the TARDIS. I love you. Thank you for all supporting this book. I just found out as I got on here that I Am Martin Luther King Jr. is sold out at Amazon. And I think it's sold out right now. It had taken off once the election happened. And it wasn't a Republican thing. It wasn't a Democrat thing. It was that so many families out there are using our books to show their kids on both sides, instead of showing them politicians, showing them what leaders are. And I love that you're using this series to do that. So thank you for doing that. Thanks for supporting Jim Henson from Facebook headquarters in LA, in the frozen tundra, in Alaska. I love you. Thanks for joining us for Storytime. Bye-bye.